With injuries, Greg Newsome had surgery on his hamstring, so he'll be out. Hopefully have him back for week 1, but I'll have more of an update as we get closer. Dalvin Tomlinson is having surgery tomorrow, having a scope on his knee. Same idea. We'll update you guys as we get more information on those injuries. And those are all, like we've always talked about injuries, we'll continue to just work through it. Tony, you can tell everybody I'm going to call the plays this year, so I want to get that out of the way. I know everybody's interested. And any decision I make for our football team, I take a lot of information in. I try to listen to a lot of people and make decisions. And ultimately, what I feel really, really confident in is our offensive staff. I feel really strongly about Coach Dorsey and the entire offensive staff. So we'll continue to be an operation that works together. It's never been a one-man show, so I just want to make sure that was I know Tony was going to ask, so I want to get it out there before then. And then, we're very, very excited to be back down here. As you guys know, this is a beautiful place for us. It's very lucky that we have ownership that lets us come down here and do it first class. They treat us great down here, so we'll be down here for 8 nights, get some really good work in, and then we'll be back up in Berea to see our fans. So, but excited about the season. As you guys know, it's always an exciting time for us to get back on the grass working. So I thought the guys did a nice job with today, and then we'll continue to get our work in while we're down here. But any questions? Yeah, it was during while he was working out this off season, maybe a week ago or so.
Was Dalvin just wear and tear how did that sort of come?
Yeah, again, one of those things that you come in, you check everybody physical, and you just sometimes you do MRIs and you check in and you make a decision you think is in the best interest. And for Dalvin, the timing of this, obviously, no timing is good, but felt like this is something we can get out of the way.
What's the outlook for Chubb and Conklin now that they've gone through the camp and checks process?
Yeah, Darryl, I think with all of our guys, it's so important just to let them continue to work through. There's no date in mind for any of our players. They're all on different injuries, different timelines, if you will. But I know those guys, all of them will continue to work and work hard.
Did you see that squatting video?
I did. I told Nick I don't post any of my videos online, but he feels free to post all his.
How do you think it's important that Watson appeared for a preseason game before the Dallas game?
We'll see. I mean, that's certainly something that I will talk to our staff about, talk to Deshaun about that. We'll make that decision when appropriate. I've thought about it, Tony, but I don't have an answer right now.
What will be Deshaun's throwing schedule? Is he still every other day?
It'll be a little bit more than that. We'll be smart. We're very fortunate to have a great medical team around Deshaun, so we'll continue to make good decisions. He looks great, feels great, so we'll just be smart about it.
Are you a team build from the start?
Yes.
And could you say play calling decision that was made before here, right? And you knew
before I walked up here?
Yeah.
Before
all along that's the way.
No, that's not true. No, I take my time on decisions. I talk to a lot of people, and decisions that I think are important to the team. I take my time and I talk to people. I gather information. But I want to reiterate, I feel really, really strongly about our entire offensive staff. Ken Dorsey is going to be a huge, huge help to me, not just on game day, throughout the week. He has a huge influence on what we do offensively already, the things that we're implementing, things that he's putting together, the way he works with our offensive staff. So those are things I don't take it lightly, Tony. I spend some time with him.
How much of that was it isn't broke, don't fix it because it's gone so well the first 4 years?
No, I mean every year stands on its own merit, and we really have I think it's 6 or 7 new coaches on the offensive staff. So I'm excited about everybody's role in that, and that's why I mentioned it earlier. I feel strongly about the offensive staff, about that whole group in there, and I think that we will continue to work through a lot of things. I think with the new staff, I mentioned that to the guys this week. There's things that come up in OTAs that you got to work through. Then there's things in the preseason. Then there's things in week 1. So that's just the nature of being year 1 with the group. But I feel really, really strongly both about the people and the coaches in there.
I mean, have you found that you and Ken are even more aligned philosophically than you thought when you hired him?
Yeah, that's a good question, Tom. I think it's interesting. We see the game similarly, but then in a lot of ways we challenge each other and push each other. But we've worked in similar systems. Ken's played in this league at a high level, played obviously in college at a high level, so he has a unique perspective. He has a unique perspective from the different guys he's coached. So there's plenty that we see similarly, but there's also plenty that we push each other on, and that's the fun part of working with anybody that you really trust and you have respect for, but you can push each other. Personal matter, expect him back soon. He not yet, but he will be.
Might this give Ken more of an opportunity to really just hone in on Deshaun and the other quarterbacks, work with him, especially coming off the shoulders?
Right. I think I feel real confident about Ken's ability to coordinate the offense, and so much goes into that, whether it's install, managing the staff. And then, as you know, Ken is the main voice in the quarterback room. Now, I'm in there every day and listening and adding when I feel appropriate. We have a young coach, Ashton Grant, is in there. We have veterans in Jameis and Snoop Huntley. So there's a lot of really strong voices in there. But I do think Ken has a unique perspective, and I think that's I feel really confident in his ability to impact both the quarterback room, but more importantly, the offense.
It seems like Deshaun really likes him, and they're really getting it off and kind of seeing eye to eye on things already.
Oh, for sure. And that's, if you know the parties involved, it shouldn't be surprising. I mean, Deshaun loves to work. He's pushing himself and all these guys, and Ken has a great way about him, again, both in the meeting room and on the field.
Kevin, obviously there was some mystery with Amari and his contract situation. I'm sure it came to so much of the side of the league for you guys to get that done and get him here in time.
Yeah, as you know, there's the business side of football. We all have agents, those things. I don't want Andrew's job. So he deals with those type of things, and I trust Andrew, and you trust the people involved in that decision. But excited for Amari.
Kevin, with Will's out and even Conklin out, you have Hudson with the first team help left out. Does that rule out Devon Jones moving this year?
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out anything at this point. It's in camp, and you can't look too far into day one. We'll move guys around. So in football, as you know, you have to be ready to adjust. Especially with that position, and guys have to be able to play both sides. So we'll see how it goes.
At the spot that you guys that had the surgeries, quarterback and defensive tackle, you have a lot of depth in both of those positions. Does that give you a little bit of comfort heading into this camp?
Yeah. As you know, Mary Kay, you don't want to be without anybody. You want everybody here. But you're right. We feel strongly about the roster. We feel strongly about those positions, and we'll get those guys back when they're ready.
Kevin, is there a certain, going back to the play calling, for you, have you developed a certain comfortability? Is there a certain comfort level on game days, like, having the play calls, there's a certain, I'm sort of in control at this point? Or, I mean... Yeah,
I don't know. I haven't done it the other way. I know guys that do that, and you have the head coach card that you pull out if you want something else called. So I know it can be done in a bunch of different ways. My confidence comes from the people around me. I feel really strongly about that group. I feel strongly about how we operate on game day and the communication that we've had from a game management standpoint. And then this, again, I go back to a bunch of new coaches. So new offensive line coach, new tight end coach, new running back coach. That's important. Those are important factors in all of this as well.
Karen, I know we talked about it before, but what has Amari meant to you guys in this offense in the 2 years?
He's been pretty good. He's, a very productive player. And Andrew's talked about this before as well, but Amari really fits in with who we are. He works very, very hard, doesn't say much, kind of keeps the focus on the football field, practices hard, doesn't miss games. I know that was rare for him to miss games last season, but he's been ultra productive. We as an offensive staff love moving Amari around, finding different ways to get him in football. You go into games and teams are saying to keep the ball out of his hands, and he finds a way to get open. He's big, powerful, so we're very excited that he's here.
Kevin, not just what he does on the field, obviously, but the mentorship role he kind of plays in that room, and with Jerry being here now, especially, how important is it to have him here this early?
Yeah, it's a really good point. Amari is the OG when it comes to wide receivers. They all look up to him. They all respect him. When he speaks, everybody listens. They watch how he works. He doesn't have to say much, but the way he works really factors into our young guys. You mentioned Jerry being an Alabama kid, Elijah being from Florida. I mean, these guys all really do revere Amari, and I think that you see that in how they work, especially.
Talked about all the pieces you have on the offensive staff. How do you go about getting them all on the same page?
No magic wand. It's just a lot of meetings. We spend a lot of time together. That's what I mentioned earlier. You have a lot of meetings in the off-season program, and really go all the way back to February or March. You sit down and you meet, and then you get players on the practice field, and there's certain things that come up, and you got to work through those. And how exactly do we want to teach this? And then you go here, and there's going to be things that come up in practice, and we got to just work through it. And it's no different than any year one staff, whether it's our defensive side last year with Jim and our defensive staff. There's things that you just have to work through, and there's a process of getting through off-season program, training camp, preseason, and then really it continues on into the season, making sure that you're all on the same page. But the bottom line is it comes from a lot of discussion and a lot of time spent together.
You talked about, you wanted to come. We talked a lot about the positives that you got out last year coming down here. But when you reassessing and planning this trip out, how much did you kind of look back and go, let's adjust this kind of trial and errors?
We looked at everything, how we meet, how we practice. When we got down here last year, we just went to a walkthrough. We decided to do a little bit more today to get the plane ride out of them. So we'll adjust a few things here and there. Last year, I believe, we practiced for 4 days, had an off day, practiced for 4 days. It's a little bit different. It's 3, off day 5. So that presents a couple different challenges, if you will. So we'll adjust a few things in how we meet. I feel really good about how we ramp up to get ready for this season. As you guys know, it's a 17-game season plus if you earn some more games. So we're mindful of all of that as we put this plan together.
How was your start of camp message different this year than maybe last year or the last 3 years?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to Scott. Every year stands on its own merit. Different people, different coaches, different players. We're all in different spots of our career and life, and 2024 season will be unlike any other. It's just how it operates. I told the guys, and I know all 32 clubs talked about winning the Super Bowl. Everybody does. As you know, that costs nothing. It's very cheap. Talk is cheap. You could say really anything you want. So we don't really hone in on a lot of things that we may be able to speak into existence. We just kind of focus on the work, and that's why we're down here. We're here to work.
So why did you decide to be college?
Because I was tired of you asking the questions. That's right. All right. Thanks, guys.